Sombo, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for coming to the Africa Progress Panel discussion on extractives in Zambia. It was so lovely to hear your voice and just hear what you had to say on CSR, how to make the mining companies more responsible socially. Can you just tell us a little bit about who you are and why did you come to the event, and what do you think about the report after all?
Okay, like you said earlier, my name is Sombo Chunda, and I'm currently working as an acting country representative for Diakonia. Diakonia is a Swedish international non-government organization that works in areas of social and economic justice and democracy, human rights, peace and conflict transformation. We've been operating in Zambia from 2004, and we fund a number of civil society organizations to work on a number of areas that have to do with social and economic justice. How I came to this meeting, I think this is a very good meeting that I have attended today. I'm very excited and very happy, and I was very glad to make the contributions that I had to make. It feels very nice and very fulfilling to be heard by somebody, and I think this meeting provided an opportunity for me to say something that I was sure that somebody was going to hear. So I think about the report, I think it's a very good report that we have. The challenge that we have as I think governments in Africa and civil society organizations is to be able to popularize the contents of this report to the greater masses that are out there. The report makes a number of recommendations which I think are very progressive, and I think it's the name, Africa Progress Report.
That's big. Well, we try to make it, a report that talks to the ordinary people like yourself and myself. And as Mr. Anand said yesterday in Cape Town, that Africa is not having its fair deal on natural resources. And as you mentioned earlier, that we need to implement framework like CSR, framework and policies that will allow allow extractive organizations to actually, take action and be accountable for what they do. What do you think about that?
Yes, I think one of the recommendations in the report is to ensure that countries get a fair share of the revenues that are collected from the extractive industries. And I think one sure way in which to be able to do that, of course, is through taxation. But you and I know that there's a number of loopholes that these multinational companies use in order for them to be able to evade tax or even avoid tax completely. So I think the other sure way that we can be able to collect revenues from these mining companies is if we ensure that a number of countries have got CSR policies. There's a legal framework that supports CSR. So if companies are, for example, obliged to contribute, say, 2% or 1% of their annual profits towards targeted CSR activities, I think that is a sure way in which we're going to be able to see development. I think at the back of our minds, really, what should concern us a lot is the fact that these mining operations are getting a lot from the soil or whatever it is that they're getting. It could be minerals, it could be oil, it could be the emeralds that we have. But then if you look at the well-being of the people around, it's a totally different story.
Absolutely.
So the question that we have to address, the question that we need to answer so clearly is, why are we so rich yet so poor? And in order for us to be able to address questions like that, we should not only look to tax, because I think we've tried to look at taxation for a long time and it has had its own problems. In Zambia, I'll give you an example. We've tried to have civil society organizations advocating for a windfall tax. Thankfully, we got mining royalties, doubled.
Yes.
But then I think the issue that we have at hand is to also try and see if we can have a CSR framework in place so that we can be able to get companies to provide certain services to the communities where they're operating from. We are not saying that the companies should be the ones to do all the work that the government has to do, but then they have to show responsibility in accounting for the environment in which they're carrying out their operations and making the lives of the people there in the communities where they're working better.
Sombo, I think your message is very clear, and I hope that Mr. Anand and his team in Geneva will listen to this. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.